to the mayor of New York. Lots of news involving Mayor Adams today, and today he's joining us live on Eyewitness News.
Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We want to start.
Good to see you both.
Yes, great to see you too. We want to start with your decision late this afternoon to end that food voucher program for immigrants. What led to this decision, and why now?
Well, it was an emergency contract for a sunsetting 1 year. That was what it was in place for 1 year. Now we have moved away from emergency response because we have had a constant decrease in our population, and now we're going to the procurement process that we do now for food. But we've been successful with that program. We brought down food waste. We were able to get several thousand individuals to have culturally sensitive food at the same time, and it was successful for the time being. And now we move into the general putting out the RFPs that are needed. It was an emergency, and now we're moving in another direction.
Funding, of course, the big issue surrounding the city, and has been the big issue surrounding your tenure to some degree. Let's talk about some other crucial issues, though. You talked yesterday to President-elect Trump. What did you talk about, and did it involve any funding for New York City, or perhaps lack of funding?
Well, I've been very consistent about private conversations. I don't go into them, but I'm clear. I'm here to fight on behalf of this city. You can't hold your breath and wait 4 years before you start bringing back those resources to the city. We have a new president, and I'm going to collaborate with his administration to deal with some pressing issues that are facing our city, particularly around funding. When you look at the billions of dollars we spent with the migrants and asylum seekers, we got very little help from the federal government, and I think it's imperative that we engage on the right foot to say New York needs infrastructure, affordability, and other big-ticket items.
Well, Mayor, speaking of the new president, do you think...
I like how Mayor Adams has changed his approach these last couple of months. He's been under fire. A lot has been going on with his administration. A lot of people had to step down. A lot of people are getting investigated. But he's singing a different note now. He's singing a different tune. And it's very interesting. I'm wondering if he is now switching teams, or if he is now trying to play his role in a different way because he's under this enormous amount of pressure. I'm really interested to see how this is actually going to play out for Mayor Adams, because in a lot of people's eyes, he might be selling out. He might be turning his back on a lot of he might be turning his back on a lot of New Yorkers. He might be turning his back on a lot of immigrants that actually looked up to him and wanted to be in New York because of him. So I'm very interested to see how this is actually going to play out. I was not expecting them to take away the EBT cards and the food cards and the food stamps from immigrants. I'm actually shocked. I heard these people were getting like $5,000 a month. Some are getting well over that. Some are getting a little bit less, depending on, if they have kids or not. But it looks like they're cleaning it up, because I know it's still a mess over there, because I was over there not too long ago, and I remember seeing a lot of people on the streets, a lot of people in tents and stuff like that. I remember seeing it. So I hope that they got it together. It's getting cold outside. They better have gotten it together. But honestly speaking, this entire migrant situation, the crisis that happened in New York, it happened in Boston, it happened in Chicago, Denver, all these places. Big in California, obviously. That's a border state. All these sanctuary cities have went into an extreme amount of debt trying to help out these asylum seekers. And now that they're taking away the funding, what are these people supposed to do? Are they supposed to still try to find a way to leech off the government? Are they going to end up homeless? Or do they have a plan already for them? Is it set in stone? What is actually going to happen? I'm very interested to see, but let's continue.
Think the Trump presidency will have an impact on your federal case? Are you hoping the charges will be dropped? We do know that he said that you were being unfairly targeted because of your criticism of the Biden administration's immigration policy. What are your thoughts on that? And have you spoken to Trump about this?
No, I did not, and I've been extremely clear that I've done nothing wrong, and I have competent attorneys that are going to handle that case. My job is to do what I was elected to do, and that's fight on behalf of New Yorkers. And anyone who conflate the two just really don't know who I've been for the last 30 plus years as a public servant, from police officer to an elected official. I'm going to fight and defend this city. This city deserves that, and that is what I'm going to continue to do.
Okay. And just quickly, Mayor, are you hoping that he drops the charges?
My attorney, anything that's dealing with my case, I have an excellent attorney that can handle those questions. I have to answer the questions of how to move the city forward, and I'm not going to allow anything to get in the way of that.
We'll call the lawyer later tonight and ask him the questions. I do want to talk to you a little bit more about financial assistance. You were quite critical of the lack of financial assistance President Biden didn't help fund the flood of migrants coming into New York. It's hard to imagine Donald Trump's going to, in all honesty, Mayor, going to boost any funding to pay for that. And in fact, he may order them out of the country, as we well know. People who live here and work here and their children are going to school here in the public schools. Mr. Mayor, let's talk about that cost of all that and what your hopes are for Mr. Trump.
Well, first we need to deal with reality. Over 220,000 migrants and asylum seekers came to the city, and we spent billions of taxpayers' dollars to take care of this issue, as well as other cities, Chicago, Denver, Los Angeles. When you look at those tax dollars not going to the residents of those cities to deal with the crucial issues we had to face coming out of COVID, I found that troubling, and I was clearly vociferous about it. But this is a sanctuary city. I think that the modification that was last made under the previous administration was the wrong modification. When it was put in place under Koch and under Bloomberg, it had a different concept. I don't believe people who come to the city and create violent crimes should not remain in the city, and we should have the right, after they serve their time, to turn them over to ICE. But we're going to continue to do the role. This is a city of immigrants, and many people are here undocumented. We want them to continue to know that their police department, their hospitals, and the educational system is going to be here to provide what we've provided for years.
Okay, that's the nature of a sanctuary city. Agree with that.
And Mr. Mayor, you announced a lawsuit against a vaping company. How big of a problem is this industry in New York City, and how do you think this one lawsuit is going to help stop it?
No, great question. And really, the Corporation Council, what she stated today should send chills to all of us. We basically won the battle of bringing down the nicotine problem that we were having from cigarette smoke. And now this vaping has been introduced, and the level of addictive behavior from nicotine that's targeting our children is something we should all be concerned with. And so this lawsuit is one of the many ways that we are combating this problem, from closing thousands of illegal cannabis shops to these lawsuits and other lawsuits we want to file when we find culprits like this, but also education. We was there joined by New York City Public School. We want to educate our children to deal with this problem. So it's a combination of ways, and we're going to use every tool in our toolbox to protect our children.
I know it's a weird time for so many reasons, an emotional reaction to the election by many people in New York. We thank you for joining us, Mayor. It's good to see you, and we welcome you anytime here. It's a big city, lots going on all sides, including yourself, but I think that our viewers want to hear from you how the city is doing. We really appreciate you coming on.
Look forward to it, and take care.
All right,
Okay.
I think that was a great interview. I thank the mayor for actually coming on, talking to the people, doing his rounds. People definitely wanted to hear what his opinion was on this, because he is dealing with this on a regular basis at a major scale. And I actually like what he's doing with the vaping situation. I feel like kids should not be vaping, obviously. Let there be an age limit to it. If an adult wants to do what they want to do, cool. That's their choice. It's their body. It's their life. They pay the consequences for their actions. But as for kids, yeah, I know there's a whole lot of teenagers and high schoolers, even middle schoolers, probably even elementary school kids that have found themselves stuck, and now they're sitting with a vape in their hand and smoking it daily, every single day. They're trying to hit that thing, and if they don't hit it, they start itching, they start pacing around, they start having attacks, anxiety attacks. I mean, nicotine is a hell of a drug also. And people are not realizing it, but that thing can really, really, really mess some people up. Nicotine withdrawals, all that stuff is real. All that stuff is real. So I fully understand. Keep it away from the kids. Keep it away from the teens. Let the kids be kids. Let the kids let the adults do what they have to do. All right? If they want to do that as an adult, that's all on them. They don't know the consequences as a kid. They don't understand the full effect of what it's doing to their body, to their lungs, to their mind. They don't get it. They don't get it. And they're honestly they're being eaten alive because of it. But let me know y'all thoughts about this down in the comments below. I know there was a lot to unpack in this one video, but I appreciated hearing a lot of what is actually going on in New York. I think that I honestly, from what I see and what I've heard and what I've reviewed, I think that this mayor is actually doing what he has to do to be a decent mayor for the people of New York. I think he's going after crime. It's not at a major scale, but it is actually better than it has been. Crime has gone down in New York, although it doesn't seem so. Although it's still very deadly, very violent, and very, very weird out there. Crime has gone down a little bit. And the streets are a little bit safer, but it's not as safe as it could be. And that's just because there's just so much evil out there in the world, honestly. You can't really prevent evil from happening. But I think that he is doing a lot. Even when it came to Operation Roosevelt. I did a video on that, and I've seen that they're trying to now crack down on illegal brothels that are out there, illegal prostitution and sex trafficking that's on the streets. I think that they're doing a phenomenal job trying to clean up the streets of New York. What they're doing with the rat situation, everybody knows New York has a huge rat problem, and clearly I don't know what they're going to actually do with that, but they're trying to do something to help out with that situation as well. And I think that the mayor is actually doing a decent job leading the people of New York and being a good mayor to actually care about what is actually going on in the streets of New York. Honestly, I think he's doing a phenomenal job, from my opinion, from what I've reviewed. Now, I'm not living in New York, nor do I care to live in New York because, first of all, I'll tell you a couple reasons. Too much rats, it stinks, too much people. That's it for me. We're not even talking about the expenses. We already know it's super expensive there too. But off rip, there's too much rats. I don't want to be sleeping with mice. I don't want to be sleeping with rats. That's it. I don't want to be sleeping with too much people either. If I'm going into my house, and right next to my house is another house, and right between our house is another house, well, that's too much people. You get what I'm saying? I'm just saying it's too tight. Like, everything is too close. There's too much going on in New York. And I'm more of a give me my space type of guy. Social distance. You get me? Let me know y'all thoughts about this down in the comments below. I'd really like to know y'all thoughts. Very interesting video. A lot going on in New York. And I think there's going to be a good amount of stuff coming to this administration. Hopefully. You know, he's still dealing with his legal problems, so he has to get that under control. But I don't think he will have a problem. Honestly, I really don't think he'll have a problem. Let me know y'all thoughts about this down in the comments below. I thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate y'all viewership. Hit that like button on y'all way out. And that subscribe button if y'all are new. Until next time, man. Peace.